Hey, don't you know you can't think that way? Don't ever think that way. Don't you know that fear kills everything? It's over 20 years since I heard that from a friend, and it is a significant, interesting idea. In fact, it's more than that. It is probably one of the truest things you need to know about life and business today. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about that because it indeed is an interesting idea. Here we go. This is Stan Houston once again, inviting you not only to listen to this program, but to be a part of it. We want you to join us in Interesting Ideas, a program that'll come to you on a regular basis, maybe 2, maybe 3 times a week. Oftentimes in 22, it'll be more of a weekend series of programs in which you will participate. But on to our story for today. We were at a party, one of those parties where it was to celebrate an anniversary for an aunt and uncle, and so a lot of us cousins were there, and we were kind of getting caught up with the way things are going in our lives. We were much younger at that time and trying to build our businesses and careers, and we had just learned from one of our friends who had done very well. He had been in the medical sales business, and he was making a good living because he was really good at sales, and he was living a lifestyle to match the way he was making money. And he just informed us that he had quit his job. He had quit his job, and he was going to start his own business. Now, we all looked around, and we were startled because we knew what he was doing and what he was making. And so we started to do our usual, well, are you sure? What's this all about? And he just said, stop it. Stop it. Don't you know you can't think that way? Don't you know you can't act that way? Don't you know that fear kills everything? And indeed, it does. And today, we are finding ourselves in the midst of many great fears. The COVID crisis, which we hoped would be well over in 21, is obviously continuing, perhaps well into 22. And many people are very, very much afraid. Afraid of a lot of things. Obviously, they're afraid of dying because of the COVID. They're afraid of losing their job. They're afraid of all kinds of things. So, fear abounds. And I confess that even though I made the statement, fear kills everything, and that was the first chapter of my first book in which I was trying to help me and people like me and like you who are in the business of trying to build a life and career to understand, the truth is that fear kills everything. Indeed it does. Hopes and dreams, all kinds of things. We even know that in many cases, fear, like the old expression, scared to death, is actually true. To live a life of fear will shorten your life considerably. Fear kills everything. Right now, I know several people who are looking for a new opportunity in life, perhaps a new track, to do something a little more significant that'll give their life a little more meaning and purpose. But they aren't doing it. And you know why? Because they are afraid. Now, we're not talking about children being afraid. We're not talking about young adults being afraid. We're talking about supposedly mature, seasoned men and women who are stuck. Just plain stuck. Because they are afraid. So what I would like to encourage you to do today is to continue with the second part of my title. And that's why you should celebrate Christmas. Let me just give you a few lessons. First of all, we are told in that well-known psalm. Now, most people don't know the Bible well, but they've always, in some respect, probably heard of the 23rd Psalm. Yeah, the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd. Yeah, I've heard of that. And of course, it's spoken in many sermons and many funeral services and many memorials. Hey, do you remember what it says? Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear nothing. I shall fear no evil. Well, most of the problems in life come from fear. Crime, relationships breaking up, all kinds of things happen bad and seldom good because people are just plain afraid. So may I encourage you that there might be a way in 22 to live out in such a way the interesting idea that indeed fear does kill everything, but it doesn't have to kill you, and it doesn't have to kill your hopes and dreams. And please keep in mind, that's what Christmas is all about. Give me a few minutes and I'll tell you more.
He careth for you. He careth for you. When the worries and cares of your life seem to block out the rays of His light, never forget, never lose sight, for He careth for you, for He careth for you.
In a later program that's coming up this week, I'm going to be giving one of my favorite talks. I've given it kind of around the world. Not that I've been around the world giving the talk, but I've given the talk to many people, and it's been picked up and recorded and sent around the world in a variety of, again, mass media means. Just because I haven't traveled all around the world all the time doesn't mean that my voice can't be heard and my story can't be can be also listened to and thought about all around the world. I've been privileged that for almost 40 years I've been in a position where the songs I want to sing, or at least the songs I want to play, and the stories I want to tell, and the hopeful wisdom that I have to share can be done. And since my life has been very much involved in worldwide radio, still is, I've been able to do just that. And you know what? You could too, if you weren't afraid to give it a try. Oh, Stan, I don't know about that. Yeah, you could do that, but you're afraid. You're kind of scared of what might happen. You're afraid you might fail. You're afraid that you might sound foolish. You're afraid that, well, people might make fun of me, or people might not like what I said. People might. And so, they with their mights have put you down, and you are afraid to take bold and brave steps because you're afraid. That's why Christmas is important. The people who walked in fear and darkness, it says in the Old Testament, will see a great light. And that is the ancient prophecy that leads to the story of the birth of Jesus and to the Christmas story. And like I said, the talk I've given is called Touched by an Angel. And in Touched by an Angel, you will find that the words that were said were, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Do you know how many times the words, don't be afraid, the expression, have no fear, you will find in Holy Scripture? You know how many times? Give it a guess. 100? Oh no, way more than that. In fact, I'd encourage you, rather than me give you the answer, why don't you try and find out for yourself? Have no fear. Don't be afraid. Yeah, even though you walk through the very valley of the shadow of death, don't be afraid. Okay, here's what Christmas is all about. People lived in fear. They lived in fear of death. They lived in fear of life. They lived in fear of all kinds of things. In fact, the old ancient religions, before the coming of the true faith, were oftentimes based on the fact that people were so afraid of the gods and the power of the gods that the religion was based on trying to make sure that the gods weren't going to do something terrible to them, or that the gods might punish them or not allow good things to come to them. And they were afraid of the gods, and so they had to find a way to appease them and make them happy. And so that is the story that goes forward in most of the faith. But then that story comes where, in effect, a young woman meets the living God with a wild and crazy suggestion. And she agrees to the suggestion. You will give birth to the very Savior of the earth. Is she afraid? Oh, I guess so. But again, in spite of her fears, she agrees and presses on and does it anyhow. Here's my point. In effect, don't let the people of the world right now, the modern media, they are in the business of making you afraid. The powers that be know that they can control you or take advantage of you if you are afraid. So many things in terms of life and business and government and all of the things around us know that fearful people can be controlled. Fearful people lack power. Fearful people lack the positions of influence in their lives. Fearful people can, and you name it, they can't do anything, but they can be taken advantage of. They can be shown and manipulated and changed and everything else. Part of the life I want to live right now is to not be afraid. I'm going to live my life and encourage my family, my friends, and you to not be afraid. Don't do things out of fear. Certainly don't throw caution to the winds. But if you want to be successful in life, you're going to have to take some significant risks. You're going to have to do things in which you don't have the control, Things are out of control, and you're going to have to trust the living God who loves you and who says, I'll be with you. You are loved. Don't be afraid. So I hope that will be the Christmas celebration that you will have in this coming week. That you will certainly celebrate the good news, the happiness, but the real message behind it all is, as you look forward to the coming year, to the coming days, to right now, I will not live in fear. I will not live in fear. I am more than a conqueror. The Spirit force will make me brave and bold and strong. And my gift to you is, you can count on it. You can have more than you ever thought possible. You can be brave. You can be bold. And you can be strong. Merry Christmas. Indeed, joy to the world. You don't have to be afraid anymore. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and it seemed that the world was a mess. But the bells rang out. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And so that's our message to you. By the way, we're looking forward to 22. First of all, I want you to also contribute interesting ideas. This program is one that you can be on, and we can help you. What It Takes Radio is our new creation, and it is not only the sponsor and the bringer of interesting ideas to you. We're one of the flagship programs, but we will help you get your message out into the world. Reach an audience, build a business. We can help you do just that. This is the year. So many people are living in fear and resignation. Don't let that be you. Please reach out to us at stanhusted@gmail.com, stanhusted@gmail.com, and just simply say, Stan, I want you to help me. I want to build a business. I want to do this. I want to do that. I'd like to be on your program because I have an interesting idea. Or I'd like to perhaps to have my own interesting ideas kind of program. Those are the things we can help you do. We are in the business of helping you become bold, brave, strong, and successful in 22. That's what we do. And I believe we do it well. And we can help you because we're not afraid. Best and blessings for you. Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year to you. We'll be back. Bye for now.